So this is the all-new 12-liter crossbody sling bag by PolarPro, and this is the 1-liter sling crossbody bag. And today I'm going to talk about why I think these are two of the most intriguing bags out there on the market. Let's go ahead and get into it. Just some quick housekeeping. PolarPro did send these bags over for us to review, so we do get to keep them. However, they did not pay for this advertisement, and they do not get to see this video before it posts online. The all new products are launching as of today, so you will be able to go to their website and check them out and all the different flavors and sizes. But today we're going to focus on the 12-liter sling and the 1-liter sling. I do have a 16-liter backpack coming in the mail, but it didn't make it here on time, so we will review that one as soon as we get it. Just to jump into it, let's talk about what these two bags have in common. They are made of all of the same material, so there's this really nice material on here. Obviously, this color scheme is very cool. This is very PolarPro on brand as far as the way they have been coloring most of the stuff the last couple of years. So it's this nice sand color and then a black. They are weather resistant. They have pretty sturdy, rugged zippers, and the zippers are shrink wrapped at the end so that they don't tear over time. And then inside of each of the bags, you will see that they have a nice padded material, standard to what most camera bags have. These are a little bit more firm as far as like the feel of the bag. And then each bag comes with probably one of the coolest features that I've seen in a while. And this is a PolarPro staple. They have lens cleaning cloths. Naturally, since they are mainly a filter company and that's what their primary products are, they normally send these with their filters when you purchase the filter, but obviously to have this in the bag handy on an elastic strap at all times is super cool. And you can replace it over time. So obviously if this gets worn out, you can take it off. It's just kind of tied here on this little loop here on the inside. So you can replace these over time. The 1-liter only comes with one. The 12-liter actually comes with two, and I believe the other bags also come with two. Okay, so jumping back into the 1-liter bag, there's not a whole lot of things to go over here in general. It's pretty compact, pretty small, and their use case for it is mainly for a smaller camera like an X100 series. I have a couple cameras I'm going to show you here in just a second that I would use in here, or another couple ways I would use this bag in particular. But the bag itself has a front pocket, so there's a small front pocket on here that you can put some small, very small accessories in the front that zips. And then on the inside of this lid, there is a filter holder or other accessories like maybe a battery or something you could fit in there. And then on the back, there is a clip, which is cool. So you could clip this to your backpack or a larger bag if you wanted. But you can also fit, there's like an elastic pocket on the back. You can also slide some stuff here in the back. So that's really it for the 1-liter sling. It does have a nice shoulder strap with the PolarPro branding on it. And this is sort of like a neoprene material, kind of stretchy, and the strap is adjustable, so that's cool. Okay, so let's jump into the main bag. So this is the 12-liter sling. Obviously, we'll just go around the outside quick. So you've got this pretty robust shoulder strap. It's pretty well padded. It's got some PolarPro branding on it. This is removable, so if you want to remove it and use your own strap, you can do that, or if you just want to take it off altogether. It's got a non-slip handle on the top, so you can hold it sort of like a lunchbox or a briefcase. It's got a pretty large pocket in the back that you can slide some stuff in. This is padded, so that's kind of cool. You can actually put something in there that you want a little bit more protected. And then on the front, we've got this large pocket. It's got these loops that you can clip other things onto it, which is pretty standard in a lot of camera bags these days. And then it's got a double zipper front pouch here. And this has that same sort of stretchy material that you can use. And again, because PolarPro is mainly a filter company, this is the perfect reason why, perfect place to slide some filters. Something like this. I've got this 135 series 82 millimeter filter, and you can slide that in there. And then I've got a couple other filters that you could throw into these pouches. And you can use this as sort of a filter tray, or you can use it as just a regular pocket. So you could fit batteries, keys, anything else that's sort of small. Going to the main pocket, when you come here, you'll notice that there's, again, two more pockets here. And again, these can be used for filters or anything else. So batteries, think of stuff like that you can slide in. The padding on here is very robust. There's almost like a hard shell on the top here, which feels like it's sort of impact proof. So That is obviously really cool that it's super protective. And then on the inside, you've got a ton of padding. This is pretty thick padding. I wouldn't say it's squishy padding. It's more of a hard foam, but it's very protective, and it also makes it very rigid, which is sort of unusual for a sling style bag. And then you have 2 of those lens cleaning cloths attached here, and there's 2 loops that they're hooked on, so you can remove those and replace them as you need. And then it's got 2 dividers like this that you can use to sort of configure however you want. And last but not least, there is a spot on the bottom here where you can slide a small travel tripod through. You can adjust these straps just like you can on most camera bags, and you can slide the tripod through using its legs to hold it to the bottom there. And all of the sides are very rigid, and it feels pretty sturdy as far as like the way it stands up on its own. It doesn't feel flimsy or doesn't feel like it's going to flop over. Obviously, if you overweight it in one direction or another, it probably will tip over. But for the most part, it feels pretty sturdy. And it's weatherproof. This material is awesome. It's this really nice nylon material. And then there's like a canvas, almost like what you would find on like a tent here on the top. And one pocket I did forget, there is a front pocket here and that you can slide some small stuff, very thin stuff in there, but it is available if you need it. And that's pretty much the overview of the bag. Okay, next I want to talk about 5 different ways that I would pack out this particular bag and why I think it's one of the more intriguing bags out there on the market, opposed to most of the other slings that are available, and even possibly replacing some smaller backpacks. So we're going to go ahead and pack this out 5 different ways, and I'm going to show you how I plan to use it in my everyday carry. And as a bonus, I'm going to show you a few different ways that I'm going to pack out the 1 liter sling and how I plan to use it. Okay, for me, use case number 1 is going to be packing my drone in this. I think this is actually the perfect bag to carry your drone. You could carry anything from the Mavic 3 Cine Pro down. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get an Inspire in here, but to get your normal everyday size consumer drones, prosumer drones, this is the perfect case, and I'll show you the reason why. Normally with DJI and some of the other drone companies, you get something like this. This is the DJI standard case that you get with the Air 3 or the Air 3S. It's great. It serves its purpose. A couple things that I don't like about it. One is it only fits exactly what comes in the Air 3 kit, so you can't fit anything else. It's kind of a bummer. And 2, I don't really love this magnetic clasp. It seems to come undone quite a bit. And then 3, I don't really like the strap here. You can't take it off. It's sort of on there permanently, and you can't rotate it, so it ends up getting twisted over time when you're carrying it, and it's just kind of annoying. So I have an older version of this, and I just cut the strap off because I just got so annoyed with it that I couldn't carry it. But then one day when I needed the strap, it didn't have the strap available. So that's actually why I don't even use this. I use this to keep my drone stored away in the closet, but when I take it out for a shoot, I never use this. All right, so let's pack out this drone kit that I normally would take, but I end up having to either break it up into 2 different kits, or I have to overstuff my backpack, which ends up either damaging something or it makes me leave something behind. So having something like this is actually perfect for your daily drone carry. So here I have the Air 3, and I love that I can stand it up because this bag is tall enough. I can just stand it up right there. I have 2 sets of batteries, so I have 6 batteries with 2 charging docks, which I never can take with me. Usually I don't take the charging docks. When you take the batteries out, they become a little flimsy, and I'm usually scared that I'm going to end up breaking one of the docks. But with the batteries in, they're firm. I can fit both of those in here with no problem. I've got the remote. I can fit that in here, and I don't have to worry about it being scratched up. And then I have my filters, and I just throw that in there. And you can see it's nice and tight, and I could even throw a few more things on top if I needed. So if I had even more batteries, or if I had a second controller that I wanted to keep in there, or even if I had a second drone, like a Mavic Mini, I could just throw it right on top. And there's plenty of room. And then all the other pockets are still available. And now this becomes a great drone backpack. Okay, so setup number 2 is my larger photography setup. This is the GFX 102. And this is the 55 millimeter, and this is the 32 to 64 millimeter. Now, these are pretty big as far as like space and weight concerns. They're a lot bigger than your typical mirrorless setup. So carrying them in a backpack obviously is doable, but all the time. I don't know if I need to carry a backpack, not necessarily if I just want to throw a few things together just to run out to do a quick shoot. So this is actually a perfect solution. Or if I have my other backpack already filled with either my cinema rig, or if I have it filled with a second photography set, or even a few other items, then, you know, to be able to put this separate and make sure that it's safe and not rattling around or bumping into it is pretty awesome. Things I worry about with this particular camera are the viewfinder. The viewfinder is detachable, but it's very, I don't want to say delicate, but it's also very expensive to replace, so I get a little bit nervous with it. And then obviously this camera body is not cheap, so I don't want to bang around with other lenses and other pieces of kit. So to be able to throw it in here and not have an issue is awesome. And then again, I can throw my filters in here. I can either throw them in the main pocket because there's plenty of room, or I could put them in the different spots that the filter holders are available. And usually I wouldn't carry them in the case, but right now, just for time purposes, we'll go ahead and throw them in here. And you can see that I've got all the filters I normally use on an everyday shoot. And then if I show you the bag, the two lenses and the camera, I can leave the camera body attached to the lens and I don't have to worry about detaching it to put it in the bag. That's probably one of my biggest pet peeves, is having to break down the entire kit before you have to put it back in the bag, especially just to move to a smaller or another location in the same day. That's kind of annoying. So this is setup number 2. And speaking of breaking down the kit, we'll go ahead and jump into setup number 3, because I think that's probably the most intriguing version of using this bag. Okay, so number 3 is probably the most intriguing setup, like I said. And that's being able to put my cinema rig into this 12-liter sling. Now, I don't think I would do this as far as like carrying it, traveling a far distance. Normally, I would break it down and put it into a Pelican case or my backpack. But when you're on a shoot, breaking down the rig to go from one location to another in the same time frame, maybe it's the same hour, or maybe it's even the same next couple hours, is sort of a pain in the butt. So being able to just throw it into a case like this makes it that much easier to travel with. I do realize that there are cases out there called doctor cases, and those are specific for cinema rigs. A lot of times those are too big for what I need, and they also don't necessarily serve a multi-function purpose. I don't think that those bags I would be inclined to take on a daily basis. So if today I'm shooting cinema, but tomorrow I'm shooting a photo shoot, I can use this same bag and feel pretty confident in it. I don't think I would take a doctor's bag to a photo shoot just because it doesn't really serve the purpose that I need, or use it as a secondary bag to fulfill anything that doesn't fit in my backpack. So let me go ahead and show you how I fit the cinema rig inside of this 12-liter sling. In here, I've got the Condor Blue cage on it, so it's fully caged out. I've got 12mm rods, and I also have a base plate that is set to slide onto a tripod, so I have not taken anything off. I've got all the pieces here. The only thing I did remove is the monitor, which I can also fit in here, and I believe I can also fit an extra battery and a multi-tool. So we've got the rig, got the monitor, I've got an extra battery, and I could actually fit 2 extra batteries in here if I wanted. And then I can put this multi-tool in here just to throw it in there. And I'm ready to move locations from A to B. And again, like I said, that's super handy, and to not have to take down the rig every time. Even if I didn't have a lens on here and I just wanted to transport the rig itself, to keep all of those pieces together and intact saves so much time on set, and I don't have to worry about taking down or building up the rig. And I can just carry it in this. That's setup number 3. Let's jump into setup number 4. All right, so number 4 is, again, carrying stuff that's going to either spill over in my kit that I'd either have to set up another backpack for or some other case for. And using a case like this, I think it's great because it's not going to take up that much more room, but it has a ton of storage space because of its boxy shape. One of the biggest things that I end up having to either sacrifice or figure out a different way to carry is usually, for my cinema kit, usually this matte box. So this is the PolarPro matte box kit. It's a fairly large matte box. There's obviously bigger and smaller ones out there, but the fact that it'll fit in here along with all of the filters that I need and all the other accessories that go with this particular mat box is great. I can also throw things in here like the memory card holder that I have. I can put all my filters in here, so any photography screw-on filters I can still throw in here and still have plenty of room. Batteries, and that sort of will remove the pressure of having to jam all of that into my larger backpack. The larger backpack can then just be all the cameras, all the lenses, and the main pieces of the kit that I want to wear on my back or just have a little bit more, maybe a little bit more protection. So having a secondary bag like that is great. I have a few more examples of accessories that I want to show you that you can fit into this case. So next up for accessories is going to be a gimbal. Putting a gimbal in your backpack is usually pretty awkward. You can obviously carry the gimbal in its case that it comes with, if it comes with a case. But most of the time I find myself trying to figure out how to travel with it inside of my backpack, which ends up being just an awkward shape, but also kind of bulging out of the back or the front of the backpack. So being able to put it in something like this is going to be super handy. So because of the boxy shape, it's got plenty of room. This is the RS Mini 4, and it fits in there perfectly. I usually carry my gimbal parts in a bag like this. So these are all the accessories that come with the gimbal, and I'll just throw that in here. And there's still plenty of room. So I can still put batteries, memory cards, filters. I don't have to carry one of those filter wallets anymore because I can put all the filters within this particular bag and not have to worry about those weird fold out filter wallets. This will have enough space for that and dedication for just the filters, while the main compartment here, I can put all these different accessories. And the last accessories that I normally would take to a shoot, I kind of get annoyed at, but they're pretty necessary. And that is a flash. So this is the Godox AD200 Pro 2, and it comes in a really nice case, but this case is sort of a pain in the butt to carry. You can either pack this case with everything that comes with the flash, or you have to take the flash out and carry it in a million pieces. I can't fit anything else in here, including the transmitter that goes to my camera, which is kind of a pain in the butt. So I usually end up having to take these separately. But the fact that I can throw them in this case with this, and again, any other smaller accessories, is a huge win. And I could take this with me. That's number 4. Okay, and the last one, number 5, is kind of quirky, and this is probably a little bit more to my workflow. But often I'm taking one of these 2 film cameras with me to a shoot. This is the Mamiya RZ67. This is the Hasselblad 500CM, and they're both really awkward to put in a backpack. They're not made to be put in a backpack. They each have sort of awkward areas. Like this is the rewind knob for when you shoot. And the Mamiya has on both sides a focusing knob to pull focus for when you're shooting. And they're both super awkward, and they're both kind of heavy. So putting these in a backpack, I never really feel comfortable about. Number one, from a safety standpoint, I always feel like even though these cameras are built like tanks and they're old and they're made out of mostly metal, I do feel like putting them with a ton of weight of extra camera gear, the heavier lenses, or even heavier bodies on top of them over time is going to either damage them, or something bad is going to happen where I'm going to dislodge the mirror or ruin a lens or whatever. So I often end up taking a smaller pouch to put them in, but I can never fit both of them in there together. Or I have to jam them into the pouch, and it often, again, puts it in that same predicament of they're going to get damaged. I prefer not to damage them. They're older cameras and they look great and they're in great condition, and I want to keep it that way. So having something like this where I can put this camera in and not have to compromise the setup, I can put both of these cameras in here. Now, right now, obviously, I just threw them on top of each other, but with one of the dividers, I could space it out perfectly. In fact, I think I could even stand up this one, put one of these dividers in, I can put the second camera in, and you can see that I have both cameras in here and plenty of room. You can see that they're almost jiggling around. So to have a dedicated case for these really old, expensive film cameras is huge. And I love that. I can just pack these as a separate camera case, and I don't have to worry about these being damaged with my other newer, more heavy, robust gear. So that's number 5. Okay, I have a few bonus ways to pack out and how I plan on using this 1 liter sling. Now, the way that they are going to be advertising this is to carry something like an X100 series camera. So that's the X105, X106, T, S, whatever version you have. And I believe it will fit with the camera turned off and the lens closed down. So when you turn that camera off and on, the lens retracts. And that will fit in here, but I do not believe it will fit with a lens hood. I've not tried it, so it's possible that it does. But either way, I do not have one of those cameras at the moment. So I'm going to show you how I plan on using the 1 liter sling. So the first way I'd use it is throwing this little point and shoot film camera. So this is the Ektar H35. It's just a tiny little point and shoot film camera, about the size of a disposable camera. So any of those will fit in here. But just to have this as a daily carry, and if I'm going to, a theme park or just hanging out at the park with my kids, or just some small trip where I'm not going to take any other camera gear and I just want to shoot this, I can fit this camera and I can actually fit a couple rolls of film in here as well, and it'll be perfect. And then with the strap, I can just carry it on my shoulder, and I have a nice little film carry kit. Okay, so number 2 is going to be along the same lines. Maybe I'm taking my 120 millimeter film camera out, so either the Hasselblad or the Mamiya, and I'm out and about and shooting, and I need to carry a roll of film. If I'm just carrying the camera itself on a strap, or if I just am holding it in my hand, carrying film can be a little cumbersome. Obviously, you can have that in your backpack, or if I'm carrying this case, I can have film in there. But to have something that's a little bit more dedicated for the film, I think is kind of cool. So this is the 120 film volt 5 roll from PolarPro. So you can put 5 rolls of film in here, exposed or unexposed. I could just throw that in here, and then I can just zip this up, and I can have film with me ready to go, which is awesome. And I can put the unexposed film back in, and just have a place dedicated to hold the film as I'm out and about shooting. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. If you have any questions about the 12 liter sling and the 1 liter sling in the RoadRunner collection, please leave it in the comments below. We will definitely answer any of those questions. Like I said, we are getting a 16 liter backpack, and we will do a quick review on that when it comes in. But these are all available on PolarPro's website as of today, so you can go ahead and check it out, and we'll see you on the next one.